Doesn't that look delicious? It's southern fried catfish, and that's what we're going to do today on Too Haute to Handle. What we're doing today is some good old-fashioned southern fried catfish. Now, to start off, we want to season it, and here's a little trick I've learned. This is just an upside-down half-sheet pan that I've put a piece of cling wrap onto. Now, I've got 3 catfish fillets, fresh from the market, and just bought them, that I'll lay on top of the upside-down half-sheet with plastic. Now, to season them, this is a chicken rub that I use. It's basically kosher salt, some paprika chili powder, garlic powder, and onion powder mixed together and put into one of these shakers that you usually find in a pizzeria that dispenses cheese or pepper. So I will liberally sprinkle some of that right onto the catfish, and then we'll follow that with one of my favorite seasonings for seafood, Old Bay. I can dig into this first time with it and get that all over those fish. Very nice. Old Bay may be a regional thing. It's definitely popular here in Maryland, but I think it's sold all over the country. But it's one of the favorites. Now, I'll take another half sheet like this, put it, flip the plastic up on that, put the other half sheet right on top, flip it over, take it off, pull off the plastic, and we're ready to do the other side. So, same treatment. First, the rub that I normally use for chicken, with the addition of the Old Bay. Tasty, tasty, tasty stuff. And that is step 1. Now for step 2, we've got a little bit of an assembly line got here. Take one of the piece of seasoned catfishes, and in this plate is some buttermilk. Just drop it on one side, drop it on the other, hold it up and let it drain. Be patient. Don't go too quickly. Let most of that get off there. Now in the second plate is a mixture of general all-purpose flour and cornmeal. And once that fish is finished dripping, you just dredge the fish on one side, flip it over, and do it on the other. And what you're going to want to do is move this right to a rack. And repeat for all your pieces of fish. Now, the one thing that's important about this process, after you've got it all coated and everything, is you make sure you let that fish sit there for at least 5 minutes before you start cooking in it. That will give that coating a chance to adhere really well. Otherwise, if you put it right into hot oil, all that delicious crispy coating, which it will be crispy, will fall off in the pan if you don't give it time to wait. So there you go, piece number 2. And follow suit exactly the same way with as many pieces of fish as you're going to cook. If you have any little pieces that didn't quite get it on there, just pull your flour and cornmeal right off the plate and sprinkle it onto any spots that look a little bit bare. Give it 5 minutes and come back and we'll be ready to cook it. Now to start off, I will use a cast iron skillet that has just been put on the stove with the heat turned on, and we're going to cook it in some vegetable oil. You can use whatever you want. Canola oil, peanut oil, whatever. I put it fairly deep in there because we basically want to deep fry it. Now, I know that looks like a lot of oil, and the first thought might be, oh, well, that's going to be greasy. Well, here's the deal. If you cook it properly, it won't be greasy, because the key to that is letting that oil get to the proper temperature, which in this case is going to be 350 degrees. Now, I have got one of these little laser light measures where you pull the trigger, shoot the laser at the temperature, and right now it's about 65 degrees, 75, and rising. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes till it gets to 350, and we'll be good to go in that regard. Because what happens is, if it's hot enough to where you hear a sizzle, that sizzle is the sound of steam escaping from the meat. And as long as that steam is pushing outward, the oil is not going inward. So, as soon as it gets up to temperature, I'll show you exactly what I mean. 364, that's 316, 357. So it's at least averaging 350, and I think we're good to go. So now, with the fish that we had breaded, we want to slowly drop it in. Don't just plop it there, but slowly lay it out. And you see it starts to sizzle immediately. That is excellent. That's exactly what you want. Okay, it's all covered there. The next important thing is to not crowd the pan. Because obviously when you put these cool pieces of fish in there, that oil temperature is going to drop a little bit. And I have 3 pieces of fish, but I'm not going to try to fit them all in there at one time. You want to maintain that. And now, as you see, this is exactly what I was talking about. You see that intense bubbling happening right away? That is the moisture and the steam on the inside of the fish pushing out, evaporating, boiling. And as long as that stuff is pushing out, that oil is not going to go in there. So we're not going to have ourselves a greasy piece of fish. And we only need about 2 or 3 minutes per side. I'm going to check from time to time, see how it's doing. It's a lovely golden brown. Doesn't take a whole lot of time for it to do its thing. It's right up in there. I lift it over. Now as that fish comes out of there, I'm going to put it just on a wire cooling rack. Same kind of thing I would use to cool a loaf of bread or a cake that's coming out of the oven. Now some people might want to be tempted to put it onto a piece of paper towel or something like that. I would totally avoid that, because what you want to do is let the excess oil drip off of it. And if you have that oil dripping onto a piece of paper towel that's right there, that paper towel is right next to the fish, so it's going to drip off and then be absorbed right back in there again. So, there's not much more to it than that. I think we are really good. Get a nice golden consistency. You can make it darker if you like, but I think for me, this is good. That meat is going to be well cooked. And just place it right on that. So you can see, yeah. Just put it right on that cooling rack. And then throw my last piece in there. Ease it on into the oil just the same as before. Again, it doesn't take very long, maybe 2 or 3 minutes per side here. Take a look at how it's going. Ah, yes. Nice, golden, delicious. I'll give it about another minute there and call that one done. Maybe not even that long. I think we're good. Because the fish meat doesn't take very long to cook. Drain off the excess there. And put it onto your cooling grate. And that's it. That's how easy catfish is. No need to wait. I'm going to get one of those first pieces that came out there. Put it on my plate. Oh, looks tender and flaky. And what I like to do is just take a little fresh squeezed lemon, drizzle some lemon juice right on there. Oh man, that is going to be some delicious, delicious eating. Nice, tender, flaky fish, done through and through. That is the stuff you write home about. Delicious catfish. Try it. You will love it. Now, one final note to add. Not every piece of catfish fillet is equal. Some are thicker, some are thinner, and because of that, they're going to take different cooking times. Now, if you have your oil at 350 degrees, on average, you should be about 6 minutes to perfection. If it's a shallow pan, 3 minutes per side should do it. Or if you deep fry it, you don't even have to turn it. Just gently put it in, let it go for 6 minutes, and take it out. Now, if for some reason your catfish is not done to your liking at that point, don't put it back in the oil. Just put it back on the cooling rack like I showed you, and you can put that straight into the oven. 200 degrees for 5 to 10 minutes should get it done to perfection. So that's that. It's that easy. Catfish is great. Try it. You'll like it. And come back soon to see what's cooking here on Too Haute to Handle.